Last time we were here, a couple of times, we were discussing with the district the challenges that are here and what needs to be done. Of course, one is not starting from scratch because they have been champions here before. But also what is slightly different this time is that much as a district champion, I have to interact with the rest of government departments nationally. I'm not standing just for my department, but also we are looking at what is it that the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation specifically can be able to do here. And there's some exciting prospects and possibilities because as a department, we've been doing a lot of work with municipalities generally on innovation, on technology and all that. For example, let me give you one thing. Some of the things we do, of course, you don't realize them in a short span of time often. For instance, the issue of potholes, which is a problem and a challenge everywhere. What we may want to experiment with here is new technologies to make these potholes when they are filled, for those fillings to last. Because often now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks is very long, and these potholes are back there. So we're going to be looking at what scientific interventions can one make. One of the things, for instance, that are a challenge is transformers in the supply of electricity. Now, the government spends a lot of money. I know that from my colleague, the Minister of Electricity, and also from the work we are doing on the ground. So I've said to my department, just explore through the CSIR, for instance, how can we make these transformers more resilient? Can't be having them breaking all the time and so on. So those are some of the things that we're actually looking at. Of course, here there are other specific problems. There's problems of stock theft. We have a new technology that is being developed by a small company that we are working with, which we can try and test and see if we can't upscale it, which is like a tracker for animals, to try and reduce and also help the communities, help the police to actually be able to deal with that. So in essence, we are supporting addressing the problems as identified by, for instance, the Harry Gwala District, and say, as national government, how do we come in here? Because just to remind viewers and listeners, you find that national government invests in a district, and the province invests, but there's no communication, and the municipality invests. I remember when the president launched this in Umtata or Tambo district, which you are familiar with. We discovered then, when this was launched, that there's 2 billion rands worth of projects just in the OR Tambo district. But the impact of that wasn't really felt on a daily basis. It was not a small amount of money, even today it's not. Now, there must be collaboration, coordination. You may spend less of this money but have more impact. Or if you spend all of it and it has much more impact than the different arms of government functioning separately. So that is the heart. That's what we are actually taking forward. I'll be meeting with the district mayor and all the mayors of the municipalities around here to say on our side, all right, what are we coming with? I've brought some of my agencies of the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, who have planned on work that they want to do, and they're going to be reporting back. And then the district is going to say, well, this looks okay, this is not quite okay, this will help, and where do we start? At least all the mayors are here, which is also good, so that we are able to understand how then do we move forward, because the trick is to work together.
And I think what is beautiful also, one tends to forget that science is linked to agriculture, like you spoke about. There's so many other spheres, but also this is going to enable job creation and opportunities.
Exactly. You are right. Some of my colleagues, they joke with me, you seem to be everywhere. You are interfering everywhere in the work that we are doing. I said, of course, science is everywhere. And if it is true science, it should be everywhere. Whether we are talking about mining, as you say, we are talking about agriculture, we are talking about lots of things. This district, by the way, is very important also for another thing, that most of South Africa's milk comes from here. And there is lots of challenges that are there. At some stage, it was the issue of training. Your old white artisans are retiring. You need to train young black artisans. Milk artisans, by the way. I used to work with this district before I was allocated here. So there is lots of things that we can, that science and technology can actually be able to do. It makes us to achieve another objective, to excite young people in science, to see, for them to see what science is capable of doing. Because we need more scientists as a country so that we are able to make more impact. Because what is the aim of science really? Is to solve problems that are facing communities, problems that are facing society. That's the simplest way to define what science is. Some people think of big words, and so on. We can't understand, Nzimande, what we are doing. This also helps as an educational thing to achieve another objective, that of interesting people in science and making communities to understand the importance of science. You are right, Jayed. No country will develop unless it is able to harness science and technology.
Well, Minister, you and I are going to be speaking off-air about those potholes because I'm very interested to hear about this new technology. But I think I will leave it there and hand back to you, Minister of Science and Technology and Innovation, Nzimande, here in the Harry Gwala District.